the 18th of the 2nd and I'm uploading as usual from Tralee, County Kerry. This upload is just an update about matters regarding health and well-being and the effects that this entire vendetta of hate crime and human rights violations has had on my physical health. As I've said, there's been violations of each of my rights as stated in the Human Rights Declaration, and today's preoccupation is really about health and well-being. So basically my health as a consequence of people's vendetta to affect my profession as a teacher and to affect my married life and my family life has been intentionally disregarded. Some might consider this as a kind of bloodless takeover, as they say, because, as I've mentioned, there's also been the issue of family farm holdings and property also involved in this issue. The matter with regards to women's health and patients of any kind of an illness or ailment being ignored is very serious for this day and age. It's 2020 and women's rights have come a long way, and for a person to be singled out and intentionally violated is absolutely shocking. I have said this on numerous occasions on these uploads that the Ombudsman and the politicians have been made aware of the suffering that has been caused for me unjustifiably and inexcusably in my hometown. And the thing about it is health, women's health, children's health, everyone's health is, you know, relevant and important and to be prioritised by all general practitioners. But in this situation, there's been individuals obstructing my right to medical care for the past 3 to 4 years. So in the meantime, as I've mentioned, there's been bodily integrity violations and bodily integrity matters also occurring in this matter. In the Declaration of Human Rights, there's a reference made to a person's gender and sexuality, and the example of how seriously I've been defamed even refers to how individuals have actually been so disrespectful to make very unusual comments about my sexuality. I gave birth in 2015. I'm a female adult, and contrary to some individuals' understanding about the female anatomy, I'm very much female, and the insults and derogatory terms and comments that certain culprits have claimed is just how morose this entire situation is. So that's with regards to physical health and medical treatment being, you know, disregarded, and insults that people have lowered themselves to in their efforts to insult. But my career, my past experiences and professions have also been disrespected. As a qualified teacher, there's been individuals even claiming the most outrageous comments about, you know, my past professions. This leads me on then to the mental capacities and mental well-being that have been raised in this matter as well. And as I've mentioned in a previous upload, my intellectual capabilities were also disrespected and disregarded and insulted also. So this is just an onslaught of insults and defamation that I've experienced, and for these individuals that don't even know who they're insulting and haven't had the interaction with me to be making these comments and have based this entire vendetta on false facts, false evidence, false information, but just an agenda to destroy my livelihood and my career that I had worked for many years. So the thing about it is, the priority for any victim in this kind of a predicament is to prioritize what we are able to look after in circumstances of being undermined and isolated and ignored, and information being withheld that, you know, any person, any citizen, particularly a law-abiding citizen, should be consulted about. So I haven't been consulted about people that have been intruding and making decisions that they have no authority to be basing their decisions about. The most serious aspect is with the issue of medical care and medical treatment being, you know, disrespected. The people involving themselves and making false defamatory claims about my competence and my capabilities as an adult, as a professional, as a mother, etc., etc., just shows how insulting and dangerous this entire situation has become. But this has been going on for a few years now and has exacerbated, and the worrying part about all of this is that the sanity of certain individuals that seem to be convinced that their lies, their defamation, their false claims, their intrusions, etc., 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 their obstructions of justice, and their vendetta violations is in any way going to support or help or excuse the damage that they've done already. As I've also said in previous uploads, there's been continuous attempts to change the plots, stories, lines and characters. This has involved identity theft, financial theft, etc., etc., etc. And this is what I'm experiencing on a day-to-day basis without the supports that I'm entitled to. So basically, today's upload is about the health and well-being of victims and survivors of assault being prioritised, and basically for professionals, adults, respectable individuals to be causing this kind of an issue for a person that was just getting on and minding her own business is just despicable for any society to be tolerating or accommodating. And it makes me wonder how it would ever, you know, come to any positive fruition for any individual to be intruding in the private life and family life of a person that really, you know, just, you know, it's absolutely shocking what I've experienced. And the thing about it is, when it comes to married life and when it comes to family life, the what, you know, experiences occur in anybody's family home is not anyone else's business, and nuptials don't give anyone the authority to destroy a person's life, especially when the person doing the destruction hasn't had the integrity to honour their obligations, responsibilities and duties. So that's how this situation is. There's been very serious wrongdoings, offences and violations. Women's rights have been disrespected, children's rights have been disrespected, and turning a blind eye, as has occurred in this situation, due to individuals manipulating these circumstances with their power and wealth and creating a toxic situation for all involved, doesn't bode positive for the future. So this is how it is on the 18th of February, and that's as much as I'll share, but that's the insanity of the situation now when violations are occurring. And you know, for women's groups, women's support centres, and for victims of sexual assault and domestic violence, etc., I hope that they don't ever feel that they need to be in any way inhibited about sharing about their experiences, because injustice is horrendous, marital desertion is inexcusable, and obstructions to justice and any offences against innocent life, young or old, is not any way signifying a progressive society. So for those politicians up in Dáil Éireann and for those ombudsmen that are fully aware of this circumstance, I hope they realise how my physical health has been damaged due to the vendetta that has been perpetrated, and as regards the identity theft and financial theft issue and the legal violations there as well with that matter, I hope the agencies that are to defend human rights and women's rights and children's rights understand the game that is at play when the slander and defamation being perpetrated and relayed about me is, discussed without consulting me or without informing me or without fair or just discussions to validate and establish the false claims and defamation that people are resorting to. So health is wealth, and basically for victims and survivors of assault and injustice, I hope the United Nations know exactly how this circumstance is when a vendetta of people abusing their positions and people power, etc., is conducted in society. So for the 18th of the 2nd, that's my upload.